part of the conversation, because one of the things that I'm hearing from everybody, and I think, Dr. Malvo, what you're doing at Bennett is unbelievable, because whenever you start talking about entrepreneurship, that is something that we desperately need in our community, more so than anything else. We need to be having multiple streams of income, and I know the Urban League is at the forefront of creating entrepreneurship and pushing the government to give kids opportunities for jobs and other things to become young entrepreneurs.
Well, you know, first of all, it's just great to be here. I apologize for arriving late. I'm on the Department of Education's Equity Commission, and I had to be in the room, if you know what I mean, for that discussion, and it kind of got heated and hot in a very good way. But let me just say this, Warren, to everyone, and it's just great to sit here and listen, because I'm learning from all of you and your sharing. When I joined the National Urban League 8 years ago, we really didn't have a concerted effort around entrepreneurship. In that 8-year period, we have opened 9 entrepreneurship centers. These are one-stop shops that provide coaching, counseling, and free consulting services, if you will, to entrepreneurs in 9 communities. One is Philadelphia. Stand up, Pat. Patricia Coulter, the president of the Philadelphia Urban League, is here, and she runs the Philadelphia Entrepreneurship Center. Sitting next to her is J. Howard Henderson. J. Howard Henderson, president of the Baltimore Urban League, has worked for the last several years with Johns Hopkins University doing the minority business monitoring of their new developments in East Baltimore. At present, the National Urban League and its affiliates serve approximately 6,000 small businesses each and every year through centers that are funded with private dollars. Private dollars, not a dime of government work, dollars. Imagine what we could do if we had some support from the federal government. We could expand, indeed, what we do. One thing that is so important is to understand that in the last decade, the number of African-American-owned businesses has increased dramatically. The number of African-American-owned businesses has increased greater than that of mainstream businesses. That's good news. Secondly, the revenue increase for African-American businesses has outpaced that of the mainstream. That is also good news. On the other hand, for African-American-owned businesses, only 10 to 15% have more than one employee. So many people, apropos to the hustle, are involved in entrepreneurship in addition to holding down a full-time job, in addition to doing a number of other things. We have to focus on, we have to concentrate on this. You know, it's interesting living in the Northeast, because if you look, for example, at the Dunkin' Donuts franchise, and I don't know how many of you frequent those, I do from time to time. East Asians, Indian Americans, have a powerful footprint inside that franchise space. Why am I saying that? Because entrepreneurship also requires sacrifice. Long hours, being in love with a business, financial sacrifice, not because you own a business, you're going to live big, or you're going to live high, and it takes a long time to do it. So we do have to continue to focus on entrepreneurship and continue to focus on building it. Just at the National Urban League, we just realized that as an organization that for 100 years has tried to help people find jobs, I said it's time for us to create some jobs. And one way to create jobs is to create businesses in our own community. And one thing we all need to do is we need to be much more conscious of where we spend our dollars. We have to be conscious to think about where we spend our dollars. And I think it's 2 rules. I think we ought to try to spend money with businesses that are in our community, African American owned, and I think we need to spend money with mainstream businesses that have a presence and a commitment to our community. We can vote with our dollars. Our spending power is nearing $1 trillion. I believe it would make us about 9th or 10th if we were an independent nation. We as a community are not broke. We as a community are not poor. We as a community have to get more wise and intelligent about how we harness our power as consumers to build. And so Warren has done something, I don't know if you've talked about it, and that is trying to generate more support for community-based and African-American banks through savings accounts, et cetera, et cetera. So there's a lot we can do.
They put over $1 million in one bank, and they're putting money in other banks. And next week, we're actually kicking off. I'm getting 30,000 listeners to make a pledge of $30 a month that they're going to put up, and we're going to take $900,000 a month and put it back into the communities that the station is in across the country, and put it back into the banks in the community, so that we can have money and capital to create entrepreneurship, to create home ownership, to create education. One of the things that to me, that is deadly missing in this conversation as far as understanding money is the cost of education in this country. And Dr. Malvo, we've been on panels where you've heard me say this before, where these kids are getting so undereducated that even when they graduate from high school, that first year of college, they're just taking remedial classes and they have to pay for it. They get an extra year of debt on them as they go through school. We look at what's going on in our community, and as Mark has said, and as John has said, and as many up here will agree, we're not poor in our community, we're just not focused. We're not focusing our money at all.